Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Flickin' Reel, your friendly neighborhood fan cast. With me, of course, I do have my good friend and co-host, Mr. Scott Fox, starting the show off with me today. How you doing today, Scott?
Fantastic. Ready to just talk movies.
Yeah, we got some things to talk about. We're definitely going to talk about movies, a little bit of news, but this is going to be one of those episodes where we have a lot more views than news, but that's okay. I'm looking forward to it. So if you guys didn't know and you're new to the channel, we are your source for news, reviews, and daily discourse. Already did our introductions, but today we are we are graced by the presence of the one, the only Mr. Matty Gunner, who just a pleasure to have on the show today. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, gentlemen? How are we doing? Thank you so much for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure. First, to watch you guys. I'm a fan of the show, so to come on as a guest, guest co-host. How could I say no?
Well, we had a really great time on the Bachelor stream, and that was a great opportunity for me to spend more time with some people that I've had messages with and not really had a chance to talk with on screen. And Matty, you're one of those guys, and I said, he's got a fun, unique, optimistic, just great personality to have on screen. So I thought we'd bring you on and talk some shop today.
Yeah, and I found out we're both like the same skateboard videos as well. Like we came up on the same kind of stuff, which was. That didn't expect that. That was cool, and obviously I've watched the show. Like I'm familiar with Scott, so again, but to be on the show with both of you guys, really cool for me. So I'm excited for today.
And it's going to be a good show to be on because today's going to be a little bit more of a casual kickback kind of show because I had my eyes peeled, ears to the ground, looking for some hot, spicy movie news, and this was just not that week. And Scott knows it doesn't always happen that way.
There was a big dud as far as movies.
Yeah.
No. Sometimes you want information, you want new things to be coming out, and you're lucky to scrape by a trailer for something that looks interesting at all.
Yeah, and it turned out that if we were really kind of scraping, there was the trailer for Guillermo del Toro's like Nightmare Alley, I think, and then just today the Apple TV trailer for I think it's Finch with Tom Hanks dropped. Both of those looked interesting, but it's nothing I really felt like I could base the show around. So we do have something structured a little differently for today. However, before we dive into today's topics, we do have a quick message. Scott and I really want to grow this channel and devote more time and energy into making informative and entertaining content, but this can only be achieved this can be achieved most simply by taking a second to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Very easy. Just click, 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 boom, you're done. That's all it is. And just make sure to hit the bell icon so that you never miss a new upload. Man, I am rusty today. 3 hours of preparation, and I'm still stumbling over myself. Secondly, our dream does not stop at 150 subscribers. We are happy to be there, but more is always better. Just ask Kylo Ren. Podcasting is what we love to do. I thought Matty would appreciate that. I see that smile. Yep. We'd love to invest just some more time and energy into this channel, but you at home can help by visiting Streamlabs. See down there? Just go to that website right there, and you can donate. You can also do that through submitting super chats on YouTube, and that keeps us going. That keeps the everything fresh and allows us to just pour a lot more heart and soul into this because we all work for a living. We all got jobs and things, and sometimes when you're trying to do a transition, I would love to do this full time, but that's going to take some work and it's going to take some support. So maybe we'll get there one day. Anyways.
I like Mike Deacon my guy Mike Deacon in the chat. I like his idea for some content. A roast of Jeff. I'm down. Anytime, buddy. Jeff, I love you, but anytime.
All right. Well,
that had to be a multi-hour show to be able to get enough stuff in on Jeff.
Yeah, I can't believe that Adam Collins and Video Drew beat Jeff to the idea of the why are we like this show, because I feel like that's way more of Jeff's alley. Yeah. Without Jeff's consent at all, if we can get like $25 in the stream today, maybe we'll do a roast of Jeff Alterman. Looking forward to that. All right. So as I said, we're doing the show kind of an interesting manner today, and I'll let you guys know the topics ahead of time. We do have one thing that is, I say relatively relevant, but it's about a week old. I was hoping to talk about What If briefly. I don't know if everyone at this point has seen it, so we might just do a quick spoiler-free talk about our feelings about it. And it was episode 6, What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark? And then I thought it'd be fun to go around the table, the digital table, and talk about our favorite B movies, because that is a whole category of film that I really greatly enjoy. And we have some different age groups and backgrounds in here, so we might have some very different answers. Also, we still have 3 months left of the year. So what is your number one most anticipated film for the rest of the year? Also, as Scott and I started last week, we will round out the show with the what are we watching or reading or consuming in any type of media form. But with that, and feel free in the chat, guys, if you want to share your opinions there, if you want to redelegate the discussion and ask the whole group a question, put it in Streamlabs. We'd love to have some more exciting things to talk about in the discussion. But with that, who here has seen What If?
I watched it.
You did watch it. Okay, so 2 of us have seen it.
I have not seen the newest one.
I'm
a little slow on some of these.
That's okay. Did you see Zombies?
Yes.
Okay, so you're only behind one. That's all right. Me and Matty won't divulge into it too much.
You know what? You guys go ahead and rip into it all you want. Knowing how something ends has never affected my ability to still enjoy it. I knew Kevin Spacey was Kaiser Sose, spoiler alert, before I saw Usual Suspects, and Usual Suspects is still one of the best movies I've ever seen. So,
all right. Well, then I'm going to get this banner up really quick.
Spoiler banner?
Yeah, spoiler banner. So nobody can yell at me.
No one yell at Jesse or I'll yell at you. And you don't want that.
I'm just curious, what is the official time frame for when you're allowed to talk spoilers without having to warn somebody that there are spoilers?
Here's the thing.
I say 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
I think 2 weeks.
I think it varies on the property. I think for What If, my thing is actually, so by the time 7 comes out, episode 7, I think it's fair to talk spoilers for 6. So I'd say, full week, which we're not at yet. We're not at a full week. So that's why I'm just saying, here's the spoilers. If you guys haven't watched the show yet, you don't want to be spoiled about it, come back in like 5 minutes. We're not going to take very long.
Or mute us. Stay on the page. Just mute us.
Yeah, I'll try to remember to do this or something, or I'll take the banner down, and then there you go. Then you'll know. Matty, first I want to ask you, how did you feel about the premise, the selling point, the what if you will?
I was a bit like, huh? At first, because I get this is what if, but like some of them have been a bit like, what if T'Challa was Star-Lord? I could see that happening, because that with something like Guardians, you never know. Literally anything could happen when you involve Guardians, space, the cosmos, everything. Literally anything could happen. This was okay. How did Killmonger A, end up in the desert, B, at the right time, C, he knew exactly where Tony Stark would be at the time, and then we without jumping ahead, we find out, and then as it went further on, I was like, oh, okay, now I see. But from the jump, just seeing what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark, I was like, wait, I didn't even know he would be old enough to have been in service or anything at that time.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing. It was 2008, and he was wearing the same outfit with the same haircut as he was in, was it 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like when they had Shuri in the show, she looked about 8 years younger. She looked very young. Killmonger looked exactly the same, with the exception that he had a few less scars. Is one of the things that they did. This episode didn't work for me as a whole. I thought the premise was interesting, but it was kind of in the way of Agent Carter, where it feels like they're telling a lot of the same story, or they're just taking pieces of existing movies or properties and just kind of mashing them together. Whereas take Marvel Zombies, for example.
Yeah.
It starts off with part of Infinity War, but then the trajectory is completely different. There's like no elements of any other movie. It is its own thing until you get to the very, very end. Or even episode 2, the Star-Lord one. No aspect of that is anything like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, other than some characters that we've seen before. But plot-wise, it's completely different. And for me, the movies work, or not the movies, but the show works best when it feels like it stands on its own more. And I feel like all that this what if scenario did is expedite Killmonger's plans or give him a different path to what he was trying to do. What I thought would have been a more interesting take that I thought they were setting up is, what if he was like positively influenced by somebody at a different time and had a different route and maybe became more of a hero? And I was like, oh, that could be really cool. But just to see him have the same mission, basically be the same character at a different time, it didn't add a lot. Like the Doctor Strange episode, we get to see a different Doctor Strange. Stephen goes on a completely different journey and ends up a vastly different character. Yeah, that's my second favorite episode. For me, it's like T'Challa, Star-Lord, the Doctor Strange episode, and then it gets kind of washy because I don't love anything after that. It's like to not like. So, anyways, that's kind of in a nutshell. I kind of despise the fact that What If has taken the opportunity to like, oh, is Tony in this episode? Let's kill him. It's just every time you see Tony Stark, he's gonna die.
It's like, what did Robert Downey Jr. do to you guys? Like, we get that he doesn't want to play Iron Man anymore, but do you have to kill him at like every opportunity you get?
Absolutely. I guess,
and it's an animated series, so what would it hurt to have him alive and continuing forward? It wouldn't hurt anybody because it's a separate universe. The whole thing is the premise of, you know, a hypothetical universe outside of what happened in the actual MCU. So it's okay to not have to murder the guy.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, we see him die kind of twice in this show because it shows what happened in our universe in the beginning of the episode. And it shows him snap. And then, you know, here's the big spoilers. Killmonger kills Tony. And it's rough. It's pretty bad. Yeah. I do enjoy the anime and the Gundam references with Killmonger. And from my understanding, that is a Michael B. Jordan influence. So I think that's pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole Wakanda thing and the naivete of T'Chaka and the Wakandans really took me aback because they just seem so accepting when they should be a lot more skeptical. And man, T'Challa's not getting the best treatment in this series either. Marvel Zombies, he's missing a leg, and this one he got put down like a chump, and I was like, this is upsetting.
Yeah, and I did think the bit towards the end where he was in the plane and like you visited him and he said, you know, was it worth it? I believe that was a callback line to Gamora talking to Thanos, I think.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Did Chadwick Boseman voice him in this one?
Chadwick was able to voice all of the What If appearances. I don't know if that's done now, but
I could kind of tell because in this one his voice did seem a lot more like it was kind of waning in places, and that did kind of take me out of it a little bit because it made me think like why was he doing this? Like if he was as ill as he was, why the hell was he doing this? But then
he loved that character with his heart, soul, and entire being, and he was willing to fight for it. But I'm interested. The next episode we get is like, I don't know what the actual title of it is, but we're getting introduced to Party Thor. Now, I don't really know what that means or what that entails. I just know that on Instagram, they put out the poster today. And I was like, so is that going to be Thor just as a total bro? And is that anything that has an interesting premise to it? Or is it just something fun? Maybe it is something fun because we have had some weighted episodes the last few episodes. So maybe they're like, hey, look, this is fun. And less heavy.
It's Thor is more of a Lobo character.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, if it's Thor literally just running around going Toga, then I'm all for it. I love stupid bro shit. So
have him take the place of like Jason Momoa's Aquaman, just be like, my man.
Yeah, that would be fun. I don't know,
Alright.
man. I hope it's fun. Like you said, the last few episodes have been like really weighted and had a lot of emotional pull to them. So to have just something fun, yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
it'd be about time.
we had the Doctor Strange episode that was literally a destruction of an entire like universe or existence, and then we had Marvel Zombies, which is just one death of a fan favorite character after another. It was very morbid, and then I think this series was kind of unfortunate with the death of Tony, T'Challa, Rhodey. It's rough.
It's just like let's just kill everyone. Like
Yeah,
everyone's fair game. Let's just put a bullet in everyone's head.
We got episode 3 where it was like Hank Pym killing off all the Avengers. So I'm down for some lighthearted stuff, I think. And I do appreciate that I don't have to have strong feelings about What If, because for the most part, despite all the rumors online, I do believe that it's mostly inconsequential. So I don't have to be as hard on it. I'm like, oh, that one didn't really work for me. That's okay. On to the next. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up our spoiler talk, and we will move on to the next topic. And you guys feel free to try not to spoil it for anyone else, but if you have some thoughts or you want to give a rating out of 10 in the comments, let me know what you guys thought of the What If episode. But now we're going on to possibly my favorite topic of the day. I want to discuss what everyone's favorite B movies are, because my God, do I love bad movies, or maybe not even bad movies, but just cheap movies, goofy gore films, a lot of fun stuff that you would find on like the Sci-Fi Channel. Now, I'm not talking about Sharknado. There's got to be some substance there, but I want to know what you guys think. And Matty, did you have a chance to think about this before the show?
I had a couple. There's one, when I looked up a list of like what makes a B movie, there was one that I was very shocked to see, because it's a movie that is probably the most influential thing in my entire life. And there was one that I saw I went on the IMDb list, and it was like the best B movies of the 2000s, because that was when I was like starting to watch like movies, discovering movies for myself, like the early 2000s. And I saw one that really made me smile because of how bad it is. There's a movie called The Covenant that came out in the early 2000s. I think Taylor Kitsch was in it. It's just basically about guys who can use like I think they're in Salem, Massachusetts, and they have the power to conjure anything they want, manipulate matter, and do everything they want, but it's at a cost of their lives. So like the more they use their powers, the more they age. And it's kind of dark and it's super cheesy, but it's amazing.
Any well-known folks in it?
Let me just quickly pull up the cast, because
I think sometimes like B movie has like
I'm pretty sure Sebastian Stan was in it.
Shut up. I have to look this up.
It's hard too, because a lot of B movies, well, you hit the nail on the head, Matty, when you asked the question, what makes a B movie? There's a lot of movies that I remember being more like B movies, but they were originally billed as an A movie. Transition movies, a lot of musicians, when they first come into movies, I remember a movie Anaconda that had Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez after they left the music field and were getting into movies. And Anaconda was billed as an A movie, but when you watch it, and it's got Jon Voight as well, it's more of a B movie, monster movie feel, but it had a big budget at the time. And so it's one of these things like, which it feels like a B movie, but it was produced as an A movie. So which category does it fit in? And Starship Troopers feels more like a B movie, but that was an A movie, and also awesome. That's a really good movie. Evil Dead 2, B movies when they were first made. But then Army of Darkness has the same feel, but it was released more as an A movie. Yet all three of those are classic kind of B horror movies, with Army of Darkness obviously adding a massive amount of humor from Bruce Campbell. All really good. I think of Labyrinth as well, because I'm old. It feels more like a B movie because it's puppets. It's weird, but that wasn't a movie when it came out, and so I think it's hard to kind of encapsulate. Now, there's some that are clearly just crap monster movies,
It's
like
you're
Tremor
trying to
17.
You're trying to find the difference,
Yeah.
Which I think is a struggle between like what's a B movie and what's a cult classic, because they're not always necessarily the same thing. And I don't even know if I know like the difference all the time, because the Labyrinth, which one is it? Like I think of it as like a cult classic.
Totally a cult
And
classic.
like you said, when it was released, it's released as an A movie. I think Evil Dead was what it was right when it came out. It was never going to be an A movie. It was a low budget, incredible tight quarters. They filmed on like one location. It's a B movie. And I think what's funny is then you have films like Cabin in the Woods that I feel like was really trying to be a B movie. And I think we can debate whether it was a success in that or not, but there was more budget a little bit that went into it.
I would say Cabin Fever is more of that low budget feel than Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods definitely had a bigger budget. And Chris Hemsworth was on the cusp of becoming famous when he was in Cabin in the Woods.
I do have to take a second. I'm looking at the Covenant like IMDb right now, and Chance Crawford is in it. Isn't that the Deep from The Boys?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
and Taylor Kitsch, who later went on to play Gambit, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've also got Sebastian Stan is in it. But speaking of musicians that went on to make really crappy B movies,
John Carter,
yeah. But like speaking of musicians that went over to make really crappy B movies, did you ever see John Bon Jovi in that film Cry Wolf?
No, is
Terrible.
that the prequel to Cry Macho?
Terrible.
It was so bad. It was like John Bon Jovi trying to like work his way over into acting, but it was bad. Like,
little known,
really
John Bon
bad.
Jovi is apparently also an extra in Young Guns 2, and he gets shot because he did the soundtrack for the whole movie Young Guns 2. You barely notice it's him because of the makeup and everything, but he gets shot in one of the scenes in Young Guns 2.
Really quick, I want to let anyone that's
a
watching,
nugget for you.
If you guys didn't know already, we have a poll today, our first poll in the chat here, because we're looking at going back to expanding and doing more videos here in the near future. So I just want to know what everyone's favorite thing they'd like to see is. And some of the options are a watch along, which we've done before. Scott remembers when we did it for Zack Snyder's Justice League, a 4-hour long watch along. That was a lot of fun. The Return of Shark Jumpers. That is a show that I love recording a lot more than I enjoyed producing, but I still would be very excited to bring that back. Casual hangout stream, which is maybe like Wednesday nights, hump day hangout, something like that. An idea brought to us by our good friend Sean Wingblade. And currently at 0% votes is retro reviews, which I think has a little us all offended, because I think we're all very fond of that idea potentially. So make sure to hop on that poll if you're watching the stream now, and let us know your thoughts on that, because I'd be excited for all of those. And I have a dump truck doing garbage right now, so I'm going to mute myself and let you guys talk about B movies.
So another question would be, how much of Nicolas Cage's catalog, percentage-wise, fits into B movie catalog? Because he there was a point in time where he was the biggest star in Hollywood, and now it seems like everything he puts out goes. Yes, there are a lot of B. Ian Ziering used to be on 90210, and he championed all of the Sharknado movies, which were intentionally bad and terrible. And by the way, they succeeded at that. They are terrible movies. As a matter of fact, on that list, the IMDb list of the top 100 B movies, several crappy sci-fi monster shark, Sharktopus, Dino Shark, Sharknado. There was, like, for some reason, giant crocodiles and giant sharks took over half the list, and I was like, what happened to all the good ones? What about all the Tremors movies and everything else? But Nicolas Cage seems like everything he's made in the last 5 to 10 years seems to be working its way naturally into the B movie feel by itself.
So I watched a Nicolas Cage movie a couple of weeks ago, a movie called Firebirds, also known as Wings of the Apache. And on the front of it, it says, if you if you love Top Gun but in Apache helicopters. So I saw it and I was like, sold. Like I'm all in. Top Gun but with helicopters, Nick Cage, Tommy Lee Jones. I'm gonna check this out. It was literally horny Nick Cage throughout the whole thing, chasing this random woman and like just playing in this Apache helicopter. He can't see out of one eye, so he has to like learn to fly with one eye. And it's the most stupid premise.
And that's not Snake Eyes. It's a different
So,
movie about eyes.
oh god, I hate that movie. I hate that movie. But it's going back to the point of cult classic or B movie. Another one that I mentioned that was also on that list was Enter the Dragon, which that shocked me seeing that on a B movies list because of how influential that is. I mean,
it's culturally significant.
MMA doesn't exist without Enter the Dragon. Like, that's a fact. Bruce is the godfather of it. The whole tournament format, the gloves, everything from the sport came from Enter the Dragon. So when I saw that on the list, I was like, huh, really? And then
Nick Cage do be losing his eye a lot.
He does. And he also looks like Chad Kroeger from Nickelback when in Drive Angry. Like, if you look at him with the long, flowing blonde hair.
Drive Angry was like this. Gone in 60 Seconds was outstanding. Great movie.
Yeah.
Other than the terrible CGI jump at the very end, where the car somehow lands and drives away. But Drive Angry was like, hey, I don't have any new ideas. Let me try and make another car movie, but with 1/10 the budget and a terrible script. And on top of that, terrible acting, terrible directing. That movie is a crap sandwich. And if it wasn't a B movie intentionally, it has checked every box on its way through to being one officially.
Because then you watch him in The Rock, and like The Rock is an all-time classic.
That's The Rock, Con Air, Gone in 60 Seconds. They were in that window of time when he could do no wrong. Everything he touched was gold. And The Rock with Sean Connery, that movie isn't just good. It's rewatchable. I've seen that movie many, many times. That was one of those ones when it would pop up on TV that you'd stop and be like, you know what? Cleaning can wait. We'll watch this instead.
In my searches here, I came across another, I would say is a B actor, and that's James Remar, because I was just watching Blade Trinity yesterday, and I was like, oh, he's in this movie. So when James Remar is in a movie, it's bad, right? Because he's also the second Raiden, and woof.
Oh,
can we talk about Armageddon, right?
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So there's that.
To be a worse Raiden than Christopher Lambert, you
take
have
that
to
back.
really
take that back now, sir.
Shut your
Christopher Lambert was an amazing Raiden.
He was an amazing.
He's probably the best out of the three we've had.
I was so shocked.
I really like the newer one.
Raiden was.
Oh, I liked him.
Yeah, he's good.
Now the movie had a lot of issues, and they may not have used him as well, but I liked him. I'll be the minority in that one.
That's fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fine.
Let Christopher Lambert continue to live as Highlander, and we'll just leave him there.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, that's a defense, right? I guess that's a defense for James Remar. He's also, isn't he not Dexter's dad, or am I thinking of the wrong person? In the show Dexter?
I've never seen Dexter.
Somebody in the chat, Google it for me. I don't have time right now. Scott brought up Tremors 17, which I would like to very kindly correct him that I think they're only on 7.
The first one is one of the best monster movies you could ever ask for. It's so good.
They did so much with their budget because there's like no CGI in that film. It's
all practical effects
and like animatronics and like puppeteering and.
Well, Kevin Bacon even tags that movie as kind of a relaunch for his career. It got him back going again because he wasn't doing anything at the time and had kind of fallen off the face of the movie universe. And he was asked to do that movie. He's like, sure, why not? Let's do something crazy. And that turned out to kind of catapult him back forward.
For those that didn't know, Trimmers was the bonding experience for me and PJ Campbell. We were, I
Okay.
had him on the show and I was doing an interview with him, and we started talking about Trimmers, and our friendship like skyrocketed after that. I love that film. I actually have no problem at all rewatching the first three movies for different reasons. Obviously, the first is the best, but I enjoy the three. Four's okay. They get pretty difficult to watch after that.
I got off the bandwagon when they grew legs and started running around.
That's literally the second one.
I know. That's what I got off the
Yeah, I kind of have to agree on that one.
It's not terrible. They certainly got worse, and that says something. But I think it's also one of those
ass blasters. I think that might have been a highlight of the franchise.
I just the first one was so good, and I remember it so fondly from my childhood when it first came out. It's such a good movie, and again, rewatchable. We had that on VHS for all you out there, and we would play that tape until it was worn out, because and it would be one you'd play, rewind it to the beginning, and put it right back in the player in order to get another watch in it, especially on the weekends or in the evenings when the parents didn't care what we watched. That movie was always near the top of the list.
I have a fun debate for you guys. This may be a hard to answer question, but what do you think typically is a more fun experience? A movie that is kind of accidentally a B movie, or a movie that knew it was a B movie from day one of production?
A movie that knew it was a B movie from day one, because I tell you, me and a friend Jeff, we did a watch along for, speaking to run it back to Nick Cage, to Nick Cage's movie Jiu-Jitsu that came out last year.
Yeah.
And oh my God, was it the most steaming pile of crap I have ever seen Nick Cage in. And when, like, they sold me because it had Frank Grillo and Tony Jaa and Juju Chan. So like three people who are like legit martial artists. And I thought, great, Nick Cage is just there for the comic relief and to be the truth from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But oh my God, that movie was so bad. So bad. I prefer to watch movies that know what they are. Like there was one, Zombies, which it's probably more of a Z movie at this point, but it's just about zombies in a strip club. And it's one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my life, just because of how bad it is.
On that note, I watched a movie a few years back called Zombievers. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh. There's a scene that leads up, like it seems like it's going to be some kind of steamy, like kind of uncomfortable lesbian scene, the way that it's done up. And then all of a sudden, a flat beaver tail shoots out of one girl's butt and buck teeth come out, and she starts trying to eat the other person. And it's like vampiric zombie beavers that are contagious, and they're biting people and dogs and other things. And it's so bad. But I was like tears in my eyes laughing throughout the entire movie. And you knew that movie was not trying to be anything other than what it was.
Mm.
I just watched. Have you guys seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yes.
I have to think that's a B movie.
Yeah.
It has Alan Tudyk, and I forgot the other gentleman's name.
Love Alan Tudyk.
But it's so goofy dumb.
It's adding a heavy layer of comedy in with a horror movie in order to make it entertaining. But it's low budget. It's kind of doing what what's the movie Googling zombie beavers you're gonna have to clear your history and your search content, because that's gonna mess some things up.
It's like
Google is tracking you.
Watch that movie.
I lost my train of thought.
There's a chihuahua that gets eaten by a horde of zombievers, and me and my ex argued over it because I thought it was funny, but she had two chihuahuas.
I would say there's a lot of good 80s B horror movies. Like there's one where slugs would run through people's mouths and then kind of take over their bodies, and then they would bring them, basically make them go to an area where there's more people, but then they will bred on the inside, and so when the person dies, they just puke out a whole bunch of the slugs that go and attack more people in order to make more of them. And if anything slimy, sluggish, the idea of it going into your mouth creeps me out Yeah.
I have this intense fear of like, I'm not afraid of like spiders or anything, but like something like maybe if I'm in my sleep and my mouth is open, like something going like into my mouth or up my nose and then just like breathing and like something coming out of my eyes or something. Like, I know that's super horror movie trope, but that is a legit fear of mine.
Have you seen Sisters Brothers?
I have, yeah.
With the spider
nope.
right in the cheek, and he's got the thing, and then he starts spitting out all the babies later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scene was like, my brother had read the book, so he knew it was coming, and he's like, and when I saw it, I literally almost hurled and had that deep full body cringe, and my brother's laughing at me from across the couch, and he's like, "Oh man, I knew that was coming. It's the worst part of the movie." But that getting bit, it's kind of the scary stories to tell in the dark. The girl who gets bit by the spider in her face, and there's a sack of
that was not as hard to watch in the movie as it was to read. Reading that growing up was haunting.
Oh no, growing up, any spider you think is laying eggs in your body.
Yeah, you wake up with an itch on your face, and you're like, "This is it." Just to stay topical, because you guys are talking about slugs and things going in your mouth and stuff, and I was already going to say a master of B movies is the one James Gunn, which brings me to Slither.
Oh God.
With I believe Elizabeth Banks and of course Michael Rooker and all the staples of a James Gunn film, Nathan Fillion. What an experience! And if you gross out easy, probably not the movie for you. But I recommend it to anyone that has not seen it. And I think what caught a lot of people off guard with the Suicide Squad, just to be topical for a second, is that it was a high-budget B movie in a lot of ways for James Gunn. And you can get away with certain humor, certain irreverence that I think people aren't used to seeing in the comic book franchise. For me, it worked because I'm all about those sensibilities. Absolutely. I enjoy gross out humor when it's done well. I think Evil Dead transitioned beautifully into a TV series. Ash vs. Evil Dead is probably one of my favorite things I've ever watched. I've actually rewatched it several times. I have here we go. Slide this out of here.
Is that the one with John C. McGinley? Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Maybe. But here's my pop from Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Sweet.
And yeah, so Evil Dead.
An A movie intentionally trying to make itself like a B movie, like Suicide Squad, or even Army of Darkness, was trying to take some of that B movie feel from the Evil Dead movies and carry it forward into more of an A movie, but with a better budget, better production, clearly more sets. The being able to do that and doing it in an intentional way is great. It's kind of like going to see a B movie that you know is a B movie. It's campy, it's stupid. The effects are terrible, but they're practical. But you know that going in, and that can be a very fun time watching a movie. In the same way that an A movie pretending to be a B movie, if done correctly with all the crude humor in the right places. And James Gunn is kind of just a master at making movies. He knows what will kind of tickle the audience just the right way.
I just thought of an example of a bad B movie, something that did know what it was right away, but didn't execute it well. And I think that's Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
I was going to mention that earlier. Yes.
God.
I went and saw that with a group of friends and just wasn't having fun. I wasn't laughing through that movie. I was like, this is bad, and it's not bad in an enjoyable way. What's ironic is that led us to the next movie that same group saw in theaters was John Wick. And we said, here we go. It's another Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It's going to be trash. And then lo and behold, the best.
Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter is... There is not enough words to colorfully say how bad it is, but not in a good way, like in a bad way. Like that movie should not have been produced for any reason. And what's crazy is that came out right on the heels of, or right around the same time as Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis,
with
portraying one of the most iconic versions of Lincoln on film. And then we get Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Like, I'm surprised we didn't see the fact that he was it was rumored he was a vampire hunter, but he also did professionally wrestle for a short window. I'm surprised we didn't see a movie around Abe Lincoln, pro wrestler. Like,
well, we did get
That would be
Predators and
sweet.
Zombies, which I heard is a better version of these two movies.
I'll be honest. I thought there was a point in time I thought they were the same movie. Of
Now-
Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I legit thought that Daniel Day-Lewis was playing Abraham Lincoln as
Oh,
a
dear
vampire
goodness.
hunter.
See,
And I
that I
thought,
would go back to the
that's a
theater and
bit-
see.
it's crazy that Daniel Day-Lewis did a total of like 10 films in his entire career, and they're all Academy Award worthy. And to
Yeah.
think that he would do a vampire movie, just it's a bit of a stretch. Now, I have a question on this, because we remember things differently from when we're kids to adults. And I remember seeing the movie American Ninja when I was a kid and loving it, and then as an adult rewatching it and realizing this is garbage. I love it. It's still entertaining. Michael Dudikoff is still awesome, but they're the worst soldiers that's ever been in a military. They couldn't shoot a guy running across a field with a sword before he got close enough to throw a star and kill him. There's just a lot of issues with the movie. What
Samurai
movie
Cop.
from your what movie from your child? It's like Bulletproof Monk, but I actually enjoyed that.
I
movie.
love that movie.
What movie from your childhood that you really enjoyed now that you've seen as an adult do you think, wow, this is more of a B movie, and I remembered it so fondly, but it didn't hold up with time?
It's a good question.
One I'm thinking of, would you guys consider Bill and Ted a B movie? Because I
No.
feel like it's
No.
not super high budget, but not like everyone saw it, and it's kind of intentionally goofy and self-aware.
I don't think I'd say it's a B movie.
Okay.
I don't. I think it holds up too well.
That's fair. I had another one, and it's escaping me at the moment.
From your childhood.
Oh,
go.
I was gonna say, because Scott was talking about American Ninja. Ninja Assassin's kind of a B movie, right? It's just like a martial arts bloody gore fest.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. You cannot take it seriously, and the amount of blood and stuff that they do seems very self-aware. I wouldn't qualify it as a movie with any kind of depth or anything. It's pure just.
Well, in
It's
that case, you got to
great.
lump Kill Bill in with that as well, because Kill Bill is literally just a straight, we're murdering people for 2 hours and then we're going to do it again in the sequel.
I would
And there's
argue
a
that
small story in there.
Tarantino, I think, does A-grade B movies sometimes.
Oh, totally. But then again, that's an A movie done intentionally to feel like a B movie, which
Well, you got
makes it even
Grindhouse,
better. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And how?
Which is the same people who did they had the one movie with Kurt Russell with the car. What was the
Oh,
Death Race? Not Death Race.
yeah, wasn't it Death Race 3000 or something like that?
No, that's a different one. That was with
Statham?
Jason Statham. No, the other one, it's Grindhouse did it, and it came out at the same time as the one with, I think it was Rose McGowan, who had like the fake leg that was a assault rifle.
Oh my god, I need to see that. Whatever movie that is, I need Rose McGowan with a rifle for a leg. Hang on, let me
Universal. Okay, John here, Wingblade's talking about some good ones here. Universal Soldiers, the first one is great. All 17 sequels are terrible.
Yeah, let's talk about any
So
Seagal
it's
movie.
the movie with the dude. All right, we gotta talk about this. Right, Sean in chat knows me. Anyone in the Action Army knows I hate Steven Seagal with a passion. As a human, like I've met Jean-Claude Van Damme, bit of a weirdo, kind of a you never know which way he's gonna go. Seagal is a fake. He is a fraud. He took the credit. He took the credit for Anderson Silva's entire career, and the whole MMA community just pointed at him and laughed. I used to love Under Siege, but now that I've actually seen what he does, and I've seen that he is a fake and he is a fraud, I'm just like, to keeping like the show PG-13, F Steven Seagal, F everything he stands for. It's just like every movie he made is so bad.
Under Siege did not stand the test of time. The only one that I think he actually made at the very beginning was Hard to Kill, and that was okay, but by Under Siege, he had almost become so full of himself that they just started going downhill post that. And I've never those two movies I enjoyed when I was younger, but they didn't hold up. Not well. Hard to Kill is marginal at best. It falls in with like the American Ninja, where it was I remembered it well, and then when I saw it again, I'm like, wow, that sucked. And on top of it, it's kind of like the actors that you don't want to like, because Seagal is notoriously one of the worst people to work with on any film. And I don't know him. I've never worked with him because I'm not famous, and I've never been in a movie. Other than an extra in the movie The Sixth Man, I was in the audience during the basketball scenes.
Wow.
Fun side note. But the fact that Seagal believed that these two marginal successes catapulted him to being one of the most famous people on earth, and now he's a mockery of himself. He's become a character of who he wanted Seagal to be, and so he's playing up this really tough, cool guy. It's crap. It's all crap.
Like imagine going on an interview and saying that Jet Li is not a martial artist, saying that Michael Jai White is not a martial artist, saying Jean-Claude Van Damme, multiple-time world kickboxing champion, is not a martial. Dude, shut up. You wave your hands around it like for drunken people that run straight at you. Like, shut up, dude. Like, all the
Is he going to say that Chuck Norris isn't a real martial artist too?
He probably is. Like, there was an interview of like some guy asked him, who would you want on your side in a real street fight? And he listed off a bunch of names, and every time he just kept saying, do you want me to laugh in your face? Do you want me to laugh in your face? And the dude said, oh, what about Jet Li? Jet Li could probably kick my ass, like, even now. And
he's legit.
Yeah. And Steven Seagal is not. So if there's one out of those two, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick Jet Li, who's probably like half my size, but probably could still kick my ass. But like, Seagal is just the worst of the worst.
I just want to drop one more before we move on to the next topic, because this one's going on for a little bit. But Black Dynamite, I'm going to throw that out there for anyone that's seen Black Dynamite or hasn't seen Black Dynamite. It's incredible. It's very intentional. It is a kind of a spoof on the blaxploitation time period of films, and it's hilarious. I've watched it a great many times, and then it branched off into an Adult Swim show. So go watch Black Dynamite if you haven't already. I don't know where it's streaming currently. It used to be on Netflix, but that's it's a good time. Noah called.
Wasn't that the one with? I'm just looking up. Wasn't that the one with Michael Jai White and Arsenio Hall?
That's why I brought it up. Because
okay.
you were talking about Michael Jai White, and I was like, I love Michael Jai White straight to DVD films.
he is so great, and like I only met him for like all of 5 minutes, but like he just seemed like a genuinely nice dude.
Big guy.
Oh, dude, he's huge.
He's a massive gentleman.
He is a mountain of a man.
Michael Jai White portraying Mike Tyson in the original Mike Tyson movie back in the late 90s, Michael Jai White was fantastic playing Mike Tyson.
I've never seen that. I need to watch that because I'm excited for the Jamie Foxx one coming up of Jamie Foxx playing Mike Tyson.
When I think of Mike Tyson, I think of Ip Man. Is that 4?
3.
3. Okay,
14. Yeah. Ip Man 14.
Stop it. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our next topic here because we spent a lot of time on that one, and probably not as long as this one. Don't have many films to discuss, but what is everyone's most anticipated film before the year's end? We still got a few months. We got 2 Marvel movies. Hawkeye's the series. So we got some Marvel films. I'm trying to think if there's a DC film. I don't think so for the rest of the year, right? But then we definitely got some interesting sci-fi things, some drama bits. Mine has not changed. My number one most anticipated movie for the year, when me and Scott talked about this like back in January or whatever, is still the same film. So that hasn't changed for me. That's pretty easy. But
Venom, Let There Be Carnage? That's your number one?
Scott, I will drop kick you through the screen all the way out. Let me know what are you guys most looking forward to in the comments, and if you have any different questions, of course, remember that we do have Streamlabs open, And that's www.streamlabs.com/flickandreel. Ask us some questions. We'll answer them for as long of time as we have. That's a sentence. Any ideas, guys? I can go and give you guys time if you want.
No, it's kind of hard to not want to say Spider-Man.
Say it, buddy. Nobody's telling you can't.
Spider-Man No Way Home is definitely near the top. There's still the Bond movie coming out, No Time to Die, and it should be the final send-off for Daniel Craig, who I love as Bond. I know there's some mixed emotions about that, but you give me Sean Connery, then Daniel Craig.
Wow.
I love Connery, but Daniel Craig is way up there, and I would put him better than Roger Moore. I even like Timothy Dalton. I put right in that. I like Timothy Dalton as Bond, and I'll even go down to say George Lazenby. There's not really a terrible Bond.
No.
There's merit to every one of them. They all bring something different to the character, and I've loved to see Daniel Craig's character arc within the whole scope of them, and he's brought a physicality that wasn't really there with some of them. And so I'm excited to see that. But I'd say probably if I had to pick one movie, I'm going to fall all the way back to Eternals. When we first did this, you asked me this earlier this year, only because there's nothing else with it. I don't know all the pre-built-in story. I don't have to watch 4 or 5 movies to lead up. It does help, I'm sure, to know the MCU and what's going on. But the Eternals... especially after that final trailer.
And that cast, my goodness.
It's loaded.
Selma Hayek, Kit Harington, Richard Madden.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
It's stacked. Front to back, that movie is stacked cast-wise. You have to trust that this is going to lay the groundwork for something massive going forward. The teases in the trailer really got people talking about what's coming up. But it just looks really good. And I love the fact that kind of like with Guardians going in, I didn't know what to expect. And I'm intentionally not going out and doing too much background research into the Eternals. I've done a tiny bit, but I'm trying to reserve some of that so I don't have pre-built-in false expectations of the movie. But I'm excited because it's something different. With Spider-Man No Way Home, you have to understand 3 movies worth of stuff plus Endgame or
possibly 6.
Yeah, there's
all the Spider-Mans.
All the Spider-Man movies.
That's 8, right? Math.
That is correct. But you're going to have to know a lot of movies going into that, plus the Avengers movies. And
plus
Civil
possibly
War.
Venom. Venom comes out before. We don't know how, like I know, like...
Everyone saw that hat. Everyone saw that hat, right?
What, the one that Tom Hardy was wearing? Man, hey, we haven't seen the movie yet. Who knows? Maybe... something could happen, but
it is still a shared property between Sony and Marvel, so they could easily snake him in somehow. And easier for them to bring a little Tom Holland in to the Venom universe than it is to try and bring Venom and Carnage into the Spider-Man universe. But I would say still, even with everything built up for Spider-Man and how good that looks, especially with Doctor Strange, man, Benedict Cumberbatch, one of my favorite actors, seeing him reprising the role of Doctor Strange, and I know Jesse, you absolutely love Doctor Strange, but seeing how this is going to play out.
Can we have Octavius versus Strange in some kind of like?
I'll take Strange every day. Strange would just drop him into a hole, and that'd be the end of the fight.
Yeah,
I fell for 40 minutes straight.
I'll really quick, not to repeat myself too much. I'll just go in. It was Dune. It's still Dune. It's always going to be Dune until I see it, because the first trailer got me so hyped that I listened to a 42-hour audiobook in preparation. And it has the potential to be incredible. You have Denis Villeneuve, who is a remarkable filmmaker, who has a pretty much spotless track record, not counting box office, because not everyone is into what he chooses to do for films, but he always has like the best cinematographer. His films are beautiful. They're deep. The acting's great. The dialogue is incredible.
I'd even say this movie, looking at it, you mentioned for Eternals, the incredible cast. I'd say the cast is even more stacked for Dune. It's
I agree.
Loaded. Absolutely loaded.
I can't think of a time, and if you want to use Endgame as your fight, you can. That was a giant cast, but if we're talking straight up proven commodities, I think Dune's the greatest cast I've seen in the last 10 to 20 years. So the potential there is way up there. You have Hans Zimmer, who I think is in the top 3 best composers of the last 20 years. I think you got Hans Zimmer, Giacchino. Trying to think. I mean, there's people that have been around longer than that, but as far as like, bro, I guess he's not that new. He's been around since like Lion King, if not before, the early Lion King. But Hans Zimmer is one of my favorite composers. And he said in an interview he is so tired of hearing the same like operatic orchestras used for every space opera, subtle jab or not so subtle jab at Star Wars. He decided to invent instruments to create music that we've never heard before and sounds that we've never heard for this film. And Denny has wanted to do this movie since he was a child and read Dune like in high school. And for me, that's just all the components I need for this movie to be the best it can be potential wise. Unfortunately, this is part 1, which again, that's how you do it. You either have to do this show in a very high, or this movie in a very high budget show, or you have to break it up because it's dense. It's way too dense. David Lynch already tried to do it as a movie that was long, and it still cut out so much of the story to the point where it's not even a coherent film. And there's so many things that they do in the book that it takes a very talented director to try to translate it. And I think it's going to take Denis Villeneuve, and I really hope it comes together. This could be my most disappointing film if I don't love it as much as I think I'm going to.
So you said it was a 46-hour audiobook?
42, 46, something like that. 40 something.
That is almost the equivalent to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, audiobook-wise. And I've listened to that multiple times. And that got 6 movies and needed 6 extended movies. Or sorry, didn't get 6 movies. It got 3 movies, all extended for a total of 11 hours. And it still chopped a mountain out of the story. Now, they did an incredible job with that. Peter Jackson really harnessed it. Dune is the same thing. You either have to do one. I thought a TV series would have been better for it because you could easily stretch
which
it
they've
longer.
done, but they couldn't afford it. It was like sci-fi.
Yeah.
But Dune for me, and this is saying a lot. Dune to me is the sci-fi equivalent of Lord of the Rings, and that's why there's not a lot of argument for that. It has inspired so much sci-fi that we've seen in television and movies now today, and I haven't heard a lot of argument for a book that is more influential in sci-fi ever. If you got something for me, I'd love to hear it, but I think Dune's it. And you talk about fantasy, it's Lord of the Rings. So
yeah, it's for sci-fi what Lord of the Rings is for fantasy. They're equal parts.
But it hasn't gotten the same treatment or respect. And that's what I would love to see.
Who's ready to put $3 billion on the line in order to make it what it's supposed to be? Well, Warner was able to do that and gave Peter Jackson full trust, as did the Tolkien family to give it to
ironically,
Peter Jackson.
Warner Brothers again.
Well, if they do it right. But again, how are they going to present this first? If they're doing it that way, how's this first chapter going to play out?
I will close out by saying it has already made just shy of $40 million overseas, which is actually a really good sign leading up to it internationally. That's a pretty big box office internationally, I think, especially right now. So we'll see how it does here in October, hoping for the best. Matty, close out this topic. What are you most looking forward to?
So I got to give a quick couple of honorable mentions. One to No Time to Die. I can't wait to see it. I will be at the Royal Albert Hall for the premiere. I can't wait to go see it, be in that environment in such a historic venue that I've been to so many concerts at and seen like movies played with orchestras, and to see Daniel Craig's what could potentially be his send-off in that venue is going to be something special. Another honorable mention I want to give is Will Smith is going to be in this movie called King Richard, which is about the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena, and their dad and their upbringing. Any story about true greatness like those women have had, that's something that pulls me in immediately. And I'm like, okay, I want to see this. Those two but I got to agree with Jesse. Like Dune is my number one. My friend Zach, he told me, read the book. I didn't do the audio book. I actually sat down and, I've read like over the pages, and I was just drawn into the story. And like everyone who knows me knows that Star Wars, that's my thing. George Lucas has openly said that Dune is like between Dune and Kurosawa's like the Hidden Fortress. That is Star Wars. So for me to see where that has come from in the hands of, in my opinion, a master filmmaker in Denis Villeneuve, like everything I've seen him do, he hasn't missed. So to see him tackle a story this rich with a cast as brilliant as he has, I mean, I love Brolin. I love Oscar Isaacs. You got Momoa. Timothy Chalamet he's got megastar potential. Zendaya is also on her way to being an absolute superstar. Yeah, I got to go with Dune as well. As bad as it is, like having the same movie twice, like I can't lie, it's got to be Dune.
Everyone has their own opinion on it. And Dune, I am looking very much forward to Dune. I am going to say that with King Richard, Will Smith brings something incredible to biopics. Ali, he was incredible. The Pursuit of Happiness, which is based on a true story, incredible. He really, Will Smith is an incredible actor. So to see him take on the Venus or Serena's dad, Richard, as a character is, I'm sure that's going to be a very emotionally impactful movie for Will Smith. And so that's I somehow overlooked that one, but that's something I'll add to my list. But don't feel bad about picking Dune. I don't think there's anybody who would say that they're not looking forward to seeing Dune. It's just whether it's number 1 or 2 or 3 or where is it on the list. It's definitely up there. And both of you guys touched on so many points about that movie that make it one of the top things that needs to be seen. And I would say with Dune, it's not a matter of if you're going to see it, it's a when you're going to see it. Like this feels like one of those movies, might be one of the first ones we have this year that is a must go to the theater and see it.
What I was about to say is, damn Warner Brothers for giving people the option. And I'm sorry, I know there's mixed feelings about this. People are like, well, I can't go. I think you should have to wait. I think they should force that 45-day window like Disney's doing. And Dune should not be day and date. Because
is it same day release on streaming?
It is.
Oh my God.
That was the commitment that HBO Max made at the beginning of the year.
Denny's pissed, and he's still pissed. Understandably so. Dune is not, unless you have, which I know most of us don't, an at-home theater with surround sound that your entire room is dedicated to being a theater, you're not going to get it. This is a theatrical experience, much like Lord of the Rings. Let's rewind time. What if Lord of the Rings, what if Fellowship of the Ring was day and date? Are you seeing that on your couch? No, you're seeing that in the theater. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? So you're
seeing that midnight opening night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I feel very strongly. I could go on we could do another show about how I feel about Dune being on HBO Max. I think it's a huge mistake. And I think one of the reasons it's doing so well overseas is they don't have HBO Max. There's not a streaming option, I don't think, for Dune, as far as I know.
I believe we're getting it, I think, a week after on one of our channels. I think it's like Sky Cinema.
Oh, yeah. I should be asking you. You know better than we do.
So shout out to my Scoundrel of the Force co-host, Jarvi. Like, he's already seen Dune because he lives in Estonia and it's already come out there. And he hasn't told me much.
Contact information.
Of all the reasons to go to Estonia,
I told him, do not tell me anything. Just give me a thumbs up if it's as good as as people say it is. And he gave me 2 thumbs up. Oh. So I'm like, okay, because me and him have very similar taste in movies. So if he likes it, I know I'm gonna like it. And going back to the day and day one, I really wanted this movie to be the one that says "suck it" to Nolan. To be like, this is the one that pulls people back into the cinema. And
it goes up to anybody other than Warner Brothers themselves, it would be the case. And I would think that Suicide Squad taught him a lesson.
Are you inferring that Warner Brothers has bad management at the top?
Oh man, me and Scott are gonna have a whole editorial on Warner Brothers just shit in the bed on a daily basis.
How do you mishandle every property you own, other than I guess Harry Potter?
And
I mean, even that,
and Lord of the Rings, but
Harry Potter got look at Grindelwald. So,
oh dear goodness, that you know what? We don't have time to go
no,
off
we
on,
don't.
on
All right,
that
next
movie
topic,
sucks
because
so
I know.
I mean, the merchandise made him a lot of money.
Maddie's gonna have to run to his next show here pretty quick, so we gotta get him while we have him. So we'll move on to our final topic here, and what are we watching? But that's also what are we reading, what are we listening to, all those kinds of things. And I would love more than any other topic for people to get involved in the chat here. I want to know what TV shows you're watching, what movies you just watched. I know Sean's in the chat, and he's been doing a lot of study for the First Class League. Which, if you guys haven't already watched his matches, Sean's doing really great things over there. Beast Mode Wingblade. So I'll go last on this one. I have some thoughts, and also very relevant. The Emmys just got announced, all the winners and things, and so that was a really exciting night to hear some of the shows that I watched getting a lot of attention there. But Scott, what have you been watching lately? Not what
watching. I went through Courier. So on Amazon Prime, there's a movie called The Courier with Benedict Cumberbatch, where it's a Cold War spy movie where he's a businessman. Yes, and Ted Lasso winning Best Lead Actor was a great award last night for him.
And supporting with, I forget her name at the top of my head, but the actress that plays Rebecca, and then Brett Goldstein, Roy Kent, which has become my favorite television character of all time.
But I watched The Courier, which I recommend to anybody. It's a spy movie. It's a Cold War movie, but it's based on a true story, which makes it even cooler. About a businessman who became an unintentional spy for the British government and for the U.S. government and their dealings with Russia during the Cold War. And then my son convinced me the other day to watch Cruella. And
was that your first time watching it?
It was, and I was surprised at how good that movie.
I really like that movie.
I hadn't seen it yet, and it didn't speak to me like something. I got 4 kids. My life is crazy busy, and so to find time to watch a movie, I'm very selective about what I want to watch. And I like weird movies, especially indie movies. But when Cruella had been out there, my son goes, "I love this movie. You need to see it." He loves fashion stuff and everything like that. And we sat down to watch it, and I was blown away. It was way better than I thought it'd be. And then as far as what I'm reading, Chronicles of Narnia, my daughter really loves those stories. So I've been reading those books out loud to my daughter with my wife, and we kind of trade back and forth who's reading and kind of helping her walk through those. And first Chronicles of Narnia movie, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, great. They are trash the next 2, and then they stopped making them, which was good because what they did was not on par with what C.S. Lewis wrote.
I heard we're supposed to be getting a series, which I think is
if they can somehow do that properly, great. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe movie is very good in comparison to the book. Prince Caspian, they alter the story massively, and then by Voyage of the Dawn Treader, it was so far off, it was ridiculous.
The play I was in is better than both incarnations, though, and I was the owl. I had 2 lines, and I think I stole the show.
Nailed it. We need footage of that. You need to find video footage to be able to get that online.
It's on a disc somewhere, probably in a.
Now that is a watch along.
That's a watch along.
That is
found the video footage.
Just a reminder to vote on the poll. Vote on the poll in the chat for what you want to see next from Flicking Reel. But nice. Those are good picks. Maddie, I know we got you on a time crunch here, so please tell us next.
So, I'm trying to think. I don't watch a lot of TV. I haven't watched Ted Lasso. I love that British football culture is now making its way over to America. When you guys start getting into, football rivalries and getting into fights at games, I know you do that with NFL, but when you see it, the ugly side, then I can't wait to see that. But I don't watch much TV other than Scrubs. Scrubs is my favorite TV show of all time.
I'm no Superman.
I will watch that a million times. Every episode still makes me laugh. What movie did I watch the other day? The Lincoln Lawyer with Matthew McConaughey. I watched that for the first time the other day.
A lot of Lincoln talk today.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed that movie. I just read Dune. Amazing. Yeah. And far as listen to, there is a band called Turnstile from, I believe they're from Baltimore. They mix like hardcore with 90s indie alternative rock, and I never thought I'd like something like that, but it's just like, it's really fun. It's not hardcore in terms of like it's hard and like a lot of screaming and stuff, but I don't know, it's a really weird mix. I didn't think I'd like it, but a friend of mine played it to me. I was like, okay, yeah, this I can get behind. So for anyone who likes music like that, Turnstile, check them out.
Turnstile, okay. Do you have access to the comments right now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, why don't you drop that in the comments so everyone can check that out and I can check that out later. Anything else?
No, that is it from me.
Okay, so listening, I haven't for a little bit, but I did start the second Dune book, listening that on Audible a bit. And going back a little bit, you guys should all listen to Marvel vs. DC, A Slugfest. I believe the Russo brothers are doing some kind of documentary on that book. It is phenomenal to listen to everything that's happened between the two companies in the long-standing history of them. It's really good listen. It's also funny. It's a really funny book. I think it was very well written. And off the top of my head, I can't remember who does the Audible for it, but they did an excellent job. And I've been watching several things. I've been watching Ted Lasso, it's great. The last episode wasn't my favorite episode because they did something very different, but you can tell by the end of the episode they're going back to the formula, which sometimes doesn't always sound like the best idea. But as Norman Osborn would tell you, back to formula. What else? Wellington Paranormal. Matty, you know anything about that?
I don't know.
I think we're all Taika Waititi fans here. And It is produced by his buddy Jermaine Clement, and they both worked on What We Do in the Shadows together. There were two cops that showed up in that movie, and this is a spin-off of those two cops being put on a paranormal unit of their precinct, and chaos ensues. And it is just good old-fashioned New Zealand humor, and my God, am I addicted to it. Great time.
Not like R.I.P.D.
No. It's kind of like if it feels like New Zealand Reno 911 with aliens and ghosts and vampires.
Sweet.
So it's on HBO Max, and that's. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I just started reading Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. So, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard so many good things about it with the Hawkeye show. I want to have it read and be caught up by the time that comes out. Oh, and just so everyone knows, I will shame myself and say that I am rereading some fantasy smut because Sarah J. Maas has a book series called like A Court of Such and Such, and it's a whole series. I read the entire series, told my wife it was amazing, and so now we are rereading it together. So we are on the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury. Good stuff. All right.
Can I just ask how that feels now to say I'm reading that with my wife?
I have to pause every time because it took right up until getting married for me to get used to saying fiance. And now I finally stopped saying girlfriend, but now I keep wanting to say fiance. I'm like, nope. So I'm sure it'll take a little longer before I can stop pausing, and it's just instinctual.
How many times have you said my wife in a Borat voice since you got married?
Externally, never.
My wife.
But I have in my brain does say it. My brain goes, my wife. But I have avoided doing that. Okay, so just
you won't now.
let me check something real quick. Make sure there's no Streamlabs. All right, guys. So wrapping up, thank you so much for joining us on the show, Matty. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please come back again.
Anytime, buddy.
And just a reminder, we are back on our audio platforms. So shortly after this drops, we will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all that good stuff. And please, please, please follow us, listen to us on there, because it really helps support the channel. It's a direct link and helps just financial stability of the whole thing. So thank you so much for doing that. Also, Sean, if you don't, this is a daily conversation with Sean because I had my internet crashed when I was trying to do brackets last night. And all right. Anyways, and Pardis is watching Flight Attendant with Kaylee Cuoco on HBO Max. While you're on HBO Max watching Kaylee Cuoco, please watch the Harley Quinn animated show where she provides the voice of Harley Quinn because that show is hysterical, dang it.
Is she the woman from Big Bang Theory?
She sure is.
Yeah.
I will be watching that.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Somebody's got a crush. All right. So with that, thank you for joining us for the Flick and Reel Fancast. This has been News and Views with Jesse, Scott, and Maddie. And until next time, keep it real.